The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of Kevin Jordan or his guests. These gardening tips and suggestions may work for you, as well as those from alternative sources. When using any garden products or tools, read and follow all label directions. And learn how to make your yard summer strong at bewatersmart.info.
The Green Acres Garden Podcast is the podcast dedicated to helping gardeners hone their growing skills while we celebrate our love of plants. So whether you're new to growing or a seasoned gardener, you're sure to learn something new. Join the fun as we have conversations with world-class growers, passionate green thumbs, and professional garden experts from Green Acres Nursery and Supply. Listen every week. We'll answer questions you didn't know you had. Everybody, plant some seeds and feel united. Grow. All right, now I'm ready. Welcome, everybody, to the show. This is the Green Acres Garden Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Jordan, and man, do I love growing plants. Back in studio with the ace of audio, Austin Blank. How's it going there, Austin?
Hey, Kevin, I'm doing great, and hello to everybody. Welcome back to the show. I love you singing. Starting the show with a song is beautiful.
Wasn't sure if it was going to get edited out, but I've heard that song the other day. I was like, I think we could throw some chlorophyll. Yeah. Plant those seeds and feel united. Grow, grow, grow. So it's that time of year. Actually, we've got a great episode this week. We're meeting with somebody who I look up to and admire. This is a mentor, a colleague, a producer, a boss, and a friend. And like I said, somebody I definitely look up to. Their garden knowledge is, it's at an elite level that I aspire to be at one day. I'm talking about none other than Greg Gayton of Green Acres fame, of course. And I actually wouldn't be here. I wouldn't even be on the show if it wasn't for Greg. He gave me my opportunity, saw something in me that hopefully is there one day. I don't know if if it'll float to the surface, but we've got a great interview with Greg, Austin. We're talking all about things really seasonal in this episode, and actually we're going to cover a whole cornucopia of horticultural topics, everything from fruit trees and bulbs and roses to beyond. And it all has to do with this time of year, this specific time of year, and how things are kind of growing on and coming back to life in the nursery. When I started writing out this episode and thinking about things to discuss with Greg, one of my things, the nursery is coming back to life. I know we're right in the middle of some cool, cold weather, but to me, this is actually the beginning of great things. And so I think when we get into it with Greg, you'll hear all about it. He's just a delightful person to learn from and to talk with. And so when it comes to plants, I just love talking plants with Greg.
Absolutely. I totally agree. He always gets me inspired. He's clearly a passionate man who loves plants and people, and he loves his job. So it's
Truly
quite infectious and motivating, and it's great to have him be back on as a guest because he does so much for our show, but you would never, he's not on the mic. So it's good to get him back out here because his knowledge is worthwhile. We sat down with Greg at the Green Acres in Citrus Heights. Let's go ahead and jump into that interview now and get some of that knowledge and that motivation. Here we go.
How's it going, Greg?
Hey, it's going fantastic, Kevin.
Is it actually, because I was curious, this time of year seems a little bit cold outside. We're getting a little bit of rain, but I'm already looking forward to this spring and this summer. Personally, but how are things right now in the nursery?
Well, this is the time to reset the nursery. What we do is out with the old, in with the new. I go around the nursery and I see the landscape contractors, the landscape architects, I see master gardeners. They're coming in. It's like hummingbirds. They're fluttering around looking for what's new and what's coming in this year because the nursery is ever changing.
Well, count me among them because I'm kind of curious as to what's new. Right now, I know fruit trees. I'm getting ready to plant a few at my own house. How are the fruit trees selection right now? What are things looking? I'm looking towards maybe a bareroot fruit tree.
Well, this is the best time for fruit trees. They came in January, but they're still available. This is the only time you can get certain trees like pluaries or like giant Fuyu persimmons or, a lot of prunes, things that people want to see through the rest of the year, but they're only available at bareroot time. So this is the time, and that's when you see the lines of people looking at bareroot trees right now because they know. And, we're getting a clientele. Well, all the gardeners out there are getting to the point where they're starting to know what time of the year to come into the nursery. And so that's why it's so busy right now with bareroot fruit trees.
So for somebody who's maybe new to gardening, what is a bare root fruit tree, and what kind of fruit would somebody find in that kind of category?
Well, bare root fruit tree is in name. It's when the tree is dormant. We sell bare roots planted in a fiber pot, but it's a deciduous fruit tree, like a stone, like a peach, a plum, a nectarine, persimmon, pluot.
Getting me hungry.
Yeah, I know. And this is the time when you can get the espaliered apples, like a Fuji that has like 6 different apples on an espalier trellis. Or you can get like a multiple fruit salad, it's like 5 varieties of different fruits on one tree.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, we did that with a plum tree a few years ago at the school, and it's 5 different plums on one tree, and it's already taken off like a rocket.
Yeah, and this is the time of year, even groups like the California Rare Fruit Growers, they have their Scion Exchange this time of year, and you see them in the nursery going, oh, what's new in the nursery? And then, you go to their exchange and you get Scion wood for it. It's an exciting time for fruit trees.
Absolutely. So other things that are exciting, back in the fall, people were juiced up. I think you and I have had episodes on this in the past about bulbs. Bulbs. But right now we're kind of swinging towards, our winter, but we're headed towards spring. What are some of the bulbs that we should be looking ahead for planting?
So there's 2 seasons of bulbs. There's bulbs you plant in, and you get them in the fall, like daffodils and tulips and that. Now we're going towards our spring and our summer blooming bulbs. They're wonderful now because you can get those dahlias, like you can get the cactus dahlia, you can get the pom-pom, you can get the dinner plate dahlias. And you plant them in the ground, and by the summertime, they're going to look beautiful. Or you put it in gladiolus bulbs right now. This is the best selection. This is the time to grab them. And I really push gladiolus because even in a vegetable garden, because they bring in pollinators. And they bring in, they help a garden out. And plus, you have a cut flower garden. So this is the time to.
And plus, they are pretty dang beautiful.
Exactly. You got freesias, you got cocrosmia now. This is the only time you can get lily of the valley pips. So, February is the time.
Get your pips.
Exactly. Not Gladys Knight, but lily of the valley.
There you go.
So this is the time, and people come in, they're looking for them in February. And, and it's really funny to see every year they become more and more popular. People going, it's February, I come in to get my bulbs. And, you're going to have a beautiful garden later on if you plant the bulbs, in February and March.
There we go. All right. You heard it here. Speaking of things that those geophytes and things that we're kind of planting, hoping for some regrowth, asparagus, rhubarb, can I get my hands on that right now?
Yeah.
Is that something that I can be looking forward to?
Asparagus crown should be coming in. Potatoes should be coming in.
That's something I love growing.
Yeah, strawberries will be coming in.
Those as well.
There's plenty of brassicas still out there to plant. The weather's perfect for them.
Absolutely. I was just going to bring up, it's like everything's kind of cool right now, but we have this nice long season before the season, and I feel like I wouldn't be doing my right as a gardener if I wasn't growing. So we're going to be growing some brassicas, through and through the season, just because they're so easy for us.
Exactly. I grew up in a very cold climate in Colorado, and my people through Facebook found out that I moved to California. And one guy goes, give me 10 good reasons why you moved to California. And I said, well, that's easy. But the first one is I can grow year round here. And you can go out there and have fun with brassicas in the wintertime, garlic, you name it. It's year round, and that's what's fun about this time of the month in February. When the asparagus crowns come in, when rhubarb comes in, probably some horseradish will be coming in. Your potatoes will be here, your strawberries, and then all the brassicas. It's great.
Yeah, it's fun. I always have a blast growing the potatoes. We've these last few years, we've been growing them every single season, and it's actually, for anybody who's listening, maybe for school gardens, it's an amazing selection or choice, because if you can plant them right in that second start of the school year, right as kids come back from their winter break, if you're in zone 9, of course, like you said, it's pretty cold elsewhere, but here it's delightfully warm, and so you plant them kind of towards the end of our winter, And by the end of the school year, they're ready for harvest. So those are a fun one to grow.
And tell me they don't taste better coming from your yard than buying them from the store.
You know what? It's everything, I think, tastes better just because the whole experience and the freshness or whatever. But even potatoes, I've noticed, we grow some of those like the blue ones, the red ones, the white ones, the little fingerlings. And each year, I think I noticed like a new variety that gets put out that we can get our hands on. And there's countless varieties out there that people can search for. But potatoes, I think, are one of those garden delights where, of course, you can buy them in the store, but it's kind of fun just to watch them grow and then just pull them right out of the ground, dust it off, rinse it off, and cook and eat it. It's kind of fun.
And what's really fun is to see people's faces when they go to the potato display and they're like, whoa. Hey, there's a purple potato, there's a Yukon Gold, there's this, there's that. It's exciting to see. And that's what gets people, they come into the nursery and it might be raining out there, but they see all these new things and they're going, wow, this is doable, this is easy. We have handout sheets that show people how to grow. It's the perfect time.
Well, we're super fortunate in that it is winter time, but the weather's good enough right now. There's, like you said, the nursery here where you're at is kind of coming back to life. It is kind of, you said, it gets reset, it's rejuvenated this time of year. So there's a lot, not just growing out there that we can look forward to in the spring, but right now. So what actually looks good out there right now in your yard? Are there any blooming perennials, any flowering shrubs that I can enjoy? I know there's a lot of deciduous perennials and shrubs that actually bloom this time of year that look pretty cool.
Well, if plants could be part of the Academy Awards, they would be doing their Walk of Fame right now because a lot of really cool things are going to be blooming. Like, for example, the magnolia, the tulip magnolia.
Oh, yeah.
That the flower comes on before the leaves come on. They're amazing. You've got your flowering quince that's coming out, and they'll be in the nursery. Forsythia with its golden yellow flowers before the foliage gets on. They're perfect for focal points in the yard, and they're available now, and they're coming into the nursery, and that's what's really cool about them. They're being stocked, and you're seeing things that are just going to be doing the ooh and ah pretty soon and dazzle everybody.
It's like all those tattoos you see on people's arms of the flowering deciduous branches. Those are the ones that are going to be blooming soon.
Yep.
Yeah, I like you said, the quince, the forsythia. Those are really pretty.
Spirea.
Yeah.
Just really cool things that just pop and really bring spring into your yard, even when it is in February and March.
Absolutely. And what are your thoughts on things like flowering plums or flowering cherries? The weeping cherries, are those ones that you get excited about?
Oh yeah, like the snow fountain, which there's a single and there's a double one. They're beautiful, and they bloom for actually a large period of time. Then there's your flowering crab apples, your flowering plums, and don't throw anything at me, but there's even the flowering pears. I know. That's sort of...
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, some people get fired up. They about certain plants. That's fun. It's fun to hear people's perspectives.
And what about fruit tree? What about the spicy nectarplum? It comes out with the beautiful, and a lot of
that little nectarine, like little mini nectarines or something like that.
But then the foliage comes on and it's burgundy, but it has a flower right before the foliage comes out. The fruit is delicious, but it has an amazing sort of red foliage tinge to the leaves, and so that's really fun. And I can't get those the rest of the year. We get them now during bareroot season.
I'd love to pick your brain about annuals that look good right now, because I love growing snapdragons, alyssum, and pansies, and through the cool season for us. They just do marvelously well. But what are some other varieties you think that are maybe some good choices for people who live in in that cool season? What can we get growing and blooming throughout those cold winter months?
Well, besides cyclamen, which came in early, and they're still blooming like crazy. But then the primrose, so the first primrose that came out were the English primrose, the polyanthemas, and now a different type of primrose, the German primrose, the Abconicas are starting to show up in the nursery. They have more of a pastel like light blue, orange color. And then there is the Malacoides primrose, which is also called the fairy primrose, and those are blooming now. They have different shades and different flowers of reds and pinks and whites. And so, you can really pop up your flower beds and your pots with adding all these things that just come and they cycle in through the nursery. You mentioned snapdragons, but there's also stock, there's calendula, there's paludosum daisy, which is great in a pot. If you plant a bunch of bulbs, you can plant the bulbs, put that on there. The bulbs are going to pop up through that paludosum daisy. And all these plants are going to last until it starts getting hot, until, June.
Yeah, they go pretty long for me, but once it gets, high 80s, low 90s, they say goodbye. Yes. But until then, they do fantastically well. It's fun to watch them grow.
And we got like anemones come in the nursery. I never say that correctly. I've only been here since heck was
anemone?
Yeah, anemone. And then ranunculus are there. Candy tuft, which is a perennial, is nice. And you mentioned perennials. Pretty soon bleeding hearts are going to come in. Helleborus is out there. Yeah.
Helleborus, yeah.
You've got different heuchera,
coral bells.
Coral bells. All these are starting to filter in, and they're filtering in February. So you can change a foggy, cold day into something warm with planting color in your yard.
Yeah, I'm getting excited. And we haven't even brought up the fact that right now it's like the unofficial rose season.
Yep.
Like this is time for roses. What are your thoughts and feelings on roses right now?
It's a perfect time. Bareroot roses are in. Of course, they're bareroot in fiber pots, but you can save a lot of money at this time of the year. We'll be getting 5-gallon flowering roses in probably around April. But if you plant the bareroot now, you can get a lot of the similar varieties, but at a fraction of the cost. And they transplant really well. There's a lot of great new varieties out there. So, for all you rose folks out there, come on in now. Now's the time to really check them out.
I'm doing a little garden at the home, and I got a little spot where I can sneak in some roses. And so I've actually reached out to our friend Linda Knowles. And so I'm like, hey, give me some ideas of some good varieties that I should include if I can only get nine or so plants. And so I'm curious, I'll throw it out to you. What's one variety that if I can only get, a handful in there, what is one variety that you would say, hey, you got to have this one in there?
It's really funny because I see these over at Linda's neighbor, Charlotte, and she's got Julia Child, and they're these beautiful yellow roses. And I see them out there in our bareroot right now. I think we even have them in tree rose form. But when you go by Charlotte's house in the spring and in the summer, those roses look good. They don't bleach out. They're vibrant yellow. And she's got her whole walkway with tree roses, and she's got them all over the place, and they look amazing. I mean, that rose turned me into liking roses, because in the past, before I met Linda and Charlotte, I always thought the best way to prune a rose was with a chainsaw. So so she's got me really.
They prune them quick. I don't think they prune them that quick.
No. And please, Linda, Baldo, and Charlotte, don't throw anything at me when you see me next.
Oh, they love you. Who are we kidding? So roses right now, kind of for the same reasons. The selection's at its peak.
Yeah.
You've got
and don't worry
options.
If you miss out buying now, because sales are really pretty brisk on bareroot roses. Then you can always buy them in containers in April, May, June, and July. But you're really saving some money, and you're planting the rose when it really is happy to be, when it's asleep and it's going to take off really well.
Cool. I'm excited. I cannot wait to get my little rose garden going. We talked earlier, maybe before we started here, you talked about people were lining up to just look at the seed racks, and that's kind of exciting just to think about. So what are your thoughts, feelings on seeds right now, planting from seed this time of year?
Well, if you're not going to plant, it's too cold, it's still time to get the seeds. Our seed rack people at Botanical Interests do a really good job at restocking the seeds. But sometimes some of the really desirable varieties can run out. I like that. You had grown in your school garden that jalapeno, that lemon spice.
Oh, yeah.
That one was really good. I want to grow that.
New mix, yeah.
And then I saw, so I want to grab those before people go on a run on those. And then that new sausage, creamy sausage tomato that's supposed to be like a little bush type. That really interests me. And you had mentioned it earlier on another podcast, but yeah, now's the time. And it's really funny because I go to all the different stores. I have seen a rush on the seed racks. People really getting excited this year. I don't know if it's just that people are eating better, they want to grow their own food, or just the cost of food or whatever, but it seems like
all of the
seeds
above,
are really
maybe.
popular. Yeah.
And I think gardeners are creative, and I think they like trying new things and testing out different flavors and plants and being little scientists out in the garden. I just love it. I absolutely adore it.
I totally agree with you. And, even on the flower side, there's one thing I had in one of my garden plots and one of my community gardens, this one lady had planted bachelor buttons, and I just noticed how resilient those are. They grow through the summertime.
Like a weed.
Yeah. Well, now I saw on there's like 3 different varieties, and there's multicolor and all that. So
see the white ones I saw on that seed. Yeah, those look they caught my eye too.
Bringing in pollinators and all that, and that's the big thing is bringing in pollinators. So, I go by the seed racks all the time. I have to really watch it because you can really spend a lot of time looking in front of the seeds because there's so many cool things to grow.
Well, I'm curious, and maybe you've already even touched on it. What do you think might be the garden trend of 2024? What is going to be the new thing that everyone's doing this spring where you're like, oh yeah, everyone's on it, raised cactus gardens?
I think it's veggies again. I really think it's veggies. I see
the edible landscape.
Yeah, and I see a lot of people coming in looking for microgreen seeds.
Nice.
I see brassicas and people who've never grown them before, who've never had a winter garden, and they're all excited about that. And people are getting more knowledgeable. I don't know if it's the Master Gardeners, it's our podcast or whatever, but they're putting in like they're using more organics, more earthworm castings. They're using cover crops. They're doing all the things that you've actually been telling people to do. So pat yourself on the back.
Well, we're a team for sure. We need to do an episode on microgreens.
I think it'd be great.
Because I think it's actually, I think if somebody wants to be successful gardening, growing, that might be the fastest way to do it.
Remember that episode with Cisco Darling?
Yeah.
Where she grew all those microgreens?
Yeah, absolutely.
That was great. And some of them had like a nutty taste. Some
they're delicious.
Crunchy.
You
can put them on pizza. You can do all kinds of stuff. I really think I think the trend is eating healthier, saving money, and just getting back to nature.
Love it. I can get behind that.
Yeah.
I hope that comes to fruition. I hope that works out because that's something I can get behind.
And we have a lot of new growers this year that we buy from. During COVID, a lot of plants. Actually, it was a crazy time for nurseries, and a lot of growers sold out of a lot of product, and now they're regrowing, they're regrouping, and there's new items that keep coming on. What I should say is I have whiplash because I'll be walking down an aisle. Wow, where'd that come from? We're getting a lot of new plants that are coming into the nursery this year.
Which is saying a lot because you've been, how many springs have you been in the nursery? It's like that's saying a lot. You've seen a lot of
I'm not going to mention it because I sound like Father Time. But it's really funny. I did start back in the 70s, and if for some reason back in the 70s you went into like some kind of sleep-induced coma and you came out now, the person would be totally gobsmacked, I get for no better word, what the nursery has now. It is so cool. And this year is like other years, but better because so many new things are coming into the nursery. And I see new products, I see new plants, I see new life in the way people are acting towards gardening. People are taking more of an interest. I see people bringing their kids in and showing their kids. I see so much people are going into, sensory type gardens. They're talking about moon gardens. The questions people ask, it's amazing. Sometimes even I have a degree in hort. I'm a certified nursery professional, and I have to look it up because it's just really cool. We are getting an educated customer base that's coming in, and that's what's really cool about it.
Love it. Well, I'm excited. I think we're going to have an amazing spring and summer, and I hope you do too. I know it's going to be a furious road for you to walk down, but I know you love it, so I'm excited for you.
The busier, the better. And
absolutely.
And it's really cool. We have made so many cool friends through the years that have come in the nursery. They're like family. And what's really cool is that they share their trials and their tribulations and their success stories with us. And that's how we base what we stock in the nursery, is by customer feedback. It's really important for us to know what customers need out there and what they want and what makes them successful here in Northern California or wherever. Here in Northern California, we're really lucky because this is the time where the earth comes alive and starts to wake up.
Well, I love it. Thank you so much for making time for me, Greg. As always, I'm always learning something from you, and I just love spending time with you. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I learned from you too, Kevin.
Oh,
you know what? We're
you honor me.
Nah. We're all in this together.
All right, we are back. Thank you so much, Greg. Producer Greg, back at it again. Kevin, what'd you think?
I loved it. We always have a great time with Greg, and Greg is one of those people that he said he's a motivator. He kind of, I think, he's somebody who can see something not for what it is, but for what it can be. And I think that's a great mindset for gardening and growing. We've got to be optimistic. We've got to be hopeful. And you couple that with the knowledge and experience and being willing to kind of learn from any past mistakes or successes as well. And so I'm actually pretty fired up for this year.
He always makes me think I can grow anything. He gets me excited about something I've never heard about, and then gives me the love and the power to go grow that.
And before you know it, you're eating some chocolate sprinkled tomatoes and you're all stoked. For real, right after we had that discussion, the very next day I brought my son into the nursery and I was like, all right, let's do this. So we got some bare root roses. We got an apple tree. We planted the Crips Pink, also known as the Pink Lady. It's a cultivar out of Australia. It's been bred to deal with intense summer heat, which I don't know if you noticed, we've got a little bit of that here. And so I've grown at the school, tons of success. I'll probably end up grafting other varieties onto this apple tree as it gets bigger. But right now I got that little sucker in the ground, had some compost I added in there from the backyard. It's looking really good. I cannot wait. The roses, I got some Rio Samba, gold medal. This one, Neil Diamond. It looks so cool. It's like red with like white, like splatter paint. It looks so cool. And so I'm going to get that Julia Childs too. He sold me on it. And so I'm ready to rock. Actually, I have some more planting to do, but we got a handful of roses in, a fruit tree. So I'm feeling pretty stoked.
Excellent. Well, that's exciting, and I hope everyone else starts thinking about what they want to do this year. Now's the time to get it going. It's an exciting time of the year, and I can't wait to start this journey off with everyone. We've all got our own little things going on, so it's going to be exciting to see how it all goes, and I wish everyone the best of luck. Kevin, go ahead and take us out.
Dang it. Well, it's going to be another amazing year of growing. Each year seems to be better than the last, so just keep pushing forward. Start small, aim big. If you're kind of new or you're not sure what to do, so just have high hopes, but just start incrementally if you have to. But and if you also seeds, that's where it's at. Until next week, garden friends, I got to get back in my own garden, get some seeds going, get some more plants in the ground, sift some compost, and get ready for an amazing season. As gardeners, we always look to the future, and now we're going to be looking towards the future with a whole heck of a lot of optimism, thanks to Greg. So thank you one more time to Greg Gayton, and thank you to all the listeners for showing up and tuning in. Actually, we had a listener reach out to us on our Facebook from Florida.
Oh, that's cool.
And she's checking out, past episodes and just getting fired up, and I loved it. I was like, oh, this is cool. So we've got some local listeners here in California, but I think we're starting to kind of slowly ooze our way throughout the lands. And I love that. It's fantastic to connect with other gardeners and growers, hear what they've got going on. And so we want more of that. So please reach out to us. Until next week, garden friends, I got to get back in the garden, got to get back to my students, and hopefully get my hands on some more roses. Until next week, garden friends, happy gardening to you all, and of course, never stop growing.